2 years after a tragedy saddles him with viral fame, 12-year-old Simon O'Keefe and his family moved to Grin and Barrett, Nebraska, where the internet and cell phones are banned, so astrophysicists can scan the sky for signs of alien life, and where, with the help of 2 new friends, a puppy, and a giant radio telescope, Simon plans to restart the narrative of his life. My preview today is Simon Sort of Says by Erin. I am reading this book through the Hoopla platform obtained through Sonoma County Library. A special notice about this book is that although it does not depict violence, it deals with the aftermath of violence, including post-traumatic stress disorder. Resources for anyone seeking mental health can be found at the end of the book. People are always asking why my family came to the National Quiet Zone. Like we need a reason. I mean, who wouldn't want to live in a place with no internet and no cell phones and no TV and no radio? Who wouldn't want to live surrounded by emu farms in a town that's half astrophysicists and half people who are afraid of their microwaves? I mean, isn't that the American dream? Hint, no. Obviously, there's a story. So when people ask, I tell them we left Omaha because we were driven out by alpacas. Back in Omaha, my dad, who's a Catholic deacon, was the liturgical director at one of the big churches in the suburbs. That means he planned the masses and things, like a wedding planner, but for Jesus. One of the highlights of his year was the feast of St. Francis, where they blessed the animals. The animal blessing can be a little tricky, even when it's just cats and dogs, plus the handful of 4-year-olds who bring gerbils in cages and goldfish in bowls. People aren't always super smart about it. They don't think, there are going to be dogs, so maybe Mr. Tuna should stay in his kitty carrier for the hour-long mass. Usually at least one cat climbs on at least one head. But the year we had to leave, my dad forgot to make a list of pets you can bring, and, this is the important part, pets you cannot bring. So in addition to the cats and dogs, there was a pot-bellied pig, 2 alpacas, a giant tortoise, and a great horned owl named Sandy. St. Francis could talk to wolves, but Father Kirk was not so blessed. 3 years ago, a freaked-out tomcat named Pinky got spooked by the bulldog in line behind him. He leaped from his owner's arms and took refuge under Father Kirk's vestments. Pinky clawed his way up Father Kirk's leg and, well, let's just say it's a good thing Father Kirk had already taken that vow of celibacy. The Pinky incident marked a real turning point in the relationship between Father Kirk and my dad, who likes to embrace what he calls a little holy chaos when he plans church stuff. St. Francis would probably approve, but Father Kirk did not. And last year, the alpacas, the ones my dad forgot to ban, there were 2 of them, and they were being led up the aisle for a blessing when one of them blinked its cartoon eyelashes and stopped so abruptly that the tortoise, being pulled up the aisle behind them, slid off the back of its dolly and started to make a slow break for freedom. The frozen alpaca stood looking at the altar, and some kind of ancestral memory kicked in about things that used to happen on altars. It stood there blinking its big Bambi eyes, looking cute and seeing blood and knives, and then it made this noise. The noise started low, like someone had sat on a whoopee cushion, but as her owner tugged on her halter, the alpaca, whose name was Beth, got louder. She unhinged her jaw and made a noise like a bagpipe gargling. Then the other alpaca started in, and it sounded like angry Scots with chest colds were coming to kill us all. The acoustics were very good in our old church. Sometimes musical ensembles would come and record albums there. So the noise carried as the alpacas debuted their duet for panicky death visions. The dogs started howling, and the cats started making that noise like opera singers who've been kicked in the privates. And Sandy, the great horned owl, tore away from his owner's glove, circled among the pillars for a long moment, then swooped down to eat Mr. Tuna. Father Kirk came dashing down the aisle to help, and the alpaca spit all over his vestments. Sandy, the great horned owl, landed on the altar with Mr. Tuna's body in tow. The media was there. My dad got fired. There aren't many jobs out there for liturgical directors. There wasn't another one in all of Omaha. But my mother is an undertaker, and undertakers can work anywhere. And that's why we came here. Anyway, that's what I tell people. And this has been a preview of Simon Sort of Says.